Hey, happy Saturday, Weatherman Ray, also known as Wixman Ray here. It is April 11th, 2026, almost halfway through April. So we got springtime thunderstorms. That's the main story today and for the coming week and through at least midweek. Yeah, so off the west coast, this is California right here, if you can't see it. Low spinning off of northern California coast, bringing in, you can see these colorful clouds back here. You got that's showing you a lot of rain and showers coming into parts of California and Oregon, and some stuff spreading up into Idaho, Nevada also, and possibly a little bit into Utah. We got another wave up here across moving through Idaho, bringing some precip to parts of Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. And then we got all this moisture kind of streaming up from the south with the wave over, the Rockies from Colorado down through the desert southwest with a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity from eastern Colorado, eastern half of New Mexico into West Texas, and parts of Oklahoma and Kansas, even up into parts of Clifton, Missouri, and Iowa and Nebraska, and all the way up into even Minnesota and Wisconsin. Otherwise, east of there, pretty quiet in the northeast. A little bit of low clouds lingering across the northeast, but rather nice weather up there. Um, although be it a little bit cooler than probably the rest of the United States, and then pretty nice across the Mid-Atlantic, all the way through, the eastern third of the country. Real nice day today. So good for you guys. So, yeah, we'll start off on the east where there's not much weather. So we got some 70s across Florida. No rain to speak of. Same thing across the southeast, just mainly 70s, some 60s here and there. Jackson, Mississippi, 68. Um, and then it starts dropping down into the 60s and upper 50s around the DC area and Virginia, back into West Virginia. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio are in the 50s and 60s. By the way, it's about 10:30 p.m. or 9:30 p.m. on the East Coast, so 8:30 Central, and that would be 6:30 in the evening out on the West Coast. Just so you know what time it is. Um, Relatively quiet. We got yeah, it's a little chillier up there across northern Maine, some mid 30s, then some 40s as you head down towards New York and the rest of the Northeast. Some 50s near the coast and 50s and 60s across Pennsylvania. So that's pretty much how the East is shaping up. As we head out here to Texas, 60s and 70s, we got quite a good cluster of showers and thunderstorms across western Texas and some areas of New Mexico. Even farther back in New Mexico, there's some real isolated stuff. It's kind of quite a bit weaker. Some of that may not even be reaching the ground. Same thing in Colorado. Looks like sporadic showers. And as you get kind of north of West Texas, and that's where the main severe threat will be for the rest of the night, you got a couple of, you know, sporadic thunderstorms across Kansas there. And then a few up here across northwest Missouri, southeast Nebraska, moving up into Iowa, but really not a whole lot to speak of in this area. It gets a little more numerous once you get up into Wisconsin and north of there, with some. Looks like that's mostly rain. I mean, there could be a couple lightning strikes maybe back up through here, but nothing too crazy. In fact, we can confirm that to see what's on the SIGMET chart. Uh, there we go. Yeah, so there was some up there. These convective segments show us that there was thunderstorms up there in Wisconsin and even parts of southeast Minnesota. So yeah, we'll turn that off. Yeah, and you can see there's some thunderstorms going on back through Montana and even parts of the western Dakotas, up into Wyoming. Kind of same story, convective activity, or in other words, showers and thunderstorms back through here. Predominantly, probably showers, and it looks like mostly rain out here. There might be a few showers and thunderstorms out through here, but it looks like it's kind of weakening. Um, temperatures are starting to cool out here too. Northern California's got some 40s and 50s, and then nice as you head south through the valley and the 70s and 60s along the coast near LA and San Diego, and then inland in the deserts, 80s, 88 in Phoenix, 76 in Las Vegas. So it's definitely cooled down. And 61 in Salt Lake, 50s for the most part across northern Nevada. Same kind of idea up in Idaho, 650s for the most part. And up towards Seattle, pretty nice day. They got some clouds, but it's in the mid 50s and 60s. So a little bit warmer up there than it is down towards California. So that's what's going on the surface chart. Yeah. So pretty dry though for most of Utah and Arizona and southern Nevada, even southern California is pretty dry. So yeah, that's what's going on there. So we're looking at our upper level flow. This is going to kind of help you see what's driving the weather, especially all these thunderstorms across the center part of the country. This is our 500 millibar chart, roughly 18,000 feet above sea level. So we got a wave. So that's what all these concentrated colors are here. It's called vorticity, which translates to lift in the atmosphere, which causes clouds and precipitation, and thunderstorms, especially on the warmer time of the year, which we're getting into. So a nice wave moving through Texas, and that's where we kind of got all this activity going. Another wave up here across, Wyoming. So we saw an enhanced area up through there. And then there's the main low pressure just off the coast of California. And then it looks like a couple weaker waves up here, and it was a little more concentrated. There's up here in Wisconsin, that's a little wave there. So that's what we're kind of seeing. We'll just see little waves coming through the atmosphere. Otherwise, this ridge of high pressure right through the eastern third of the country is what's causing all the nice weather back here. So, yeah. So as we go into the day, this is by Sunday afternoon. That ridge kind of pushes a little bit to the east, so that'll keep the east coast and still the eastern part of the country pretty nice. Although it'll push a little more towards the Great Lakes. You can see these couple bits of energy up here. One up in Canada, one down here through Illinois and Iowa into Missouri. So that'll kick off some thunderstorms. And also a little bit more activity in Texas. And then this whole system kind of pushes on shore and brings a lot of energy to the west, and definitely cooler temperatures for, say, California, or at least Northern California, parts of Nevada, Utah, even into Arizona. It may start to cool a little bit. And so this whole area is going to cool down a little bit. So bring some mountain snows, high elevation snows. So yeah, you just kind of see these little waves coming up from the southwest, and this is real favorable for thunderstorms to occur over the Rockies, even the desert southwest into the central part of the U.S. So that's through Sunday. So we'll see a kind of a rinse and repeat, although thunderstorms will be a little bit farther to the east tomorrow. And then as we head into Monday, you can see this wave moves rapidly across the northeast during the day on Monday, and by it's gone. But there's still some energy up here. But we'll kind of still see the same idea across the plains. Not so much in Texas, but it may clip a little bit of Texas and this whole area, the west from, I don't know, Montana, Idaho, even down into Southern California. This whole area could see some rain and thunderstorms. It's concentrated around this low. It'll probably be mostly just showers, but you can't rule out a thunderstorm. So, yep. So that's what's going to happen as we go into Monday. And as we head into Tuesday, this whole feature kind of moves into southern Utah, it looks like, by Tuesday morning, and then it's over Colorado by the afternoon. So that'll shift the stuff across the west a little farther to the east for the Four Corner states, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah, if you didn't know that. And a little less active as you get back into California and Nevada. It starts to dry out a little bit. Then we see this next system coming into Washington and Oregon, so that'll bring in some energy and precip, and that may affect a little bit of Montana too. And then you kind of see the same thing across the plains for Tuesday from Texas all the way up, and then it shifts kind of towards the Great Lakes area. So, but down across the southeast, you got this ridge of high pressure, so they're going to kind of stay that way through next week, early next week anyways. You can kind of see that kind of stays in place. So as we go into the day on Wednesday, this thing emerges. So that's going to be our stronger storm coming out of the plains on Wednesday. So that'll be probably bring a little more energy for them thunderstorms out through the plains and out through this part of the country, the parts of the Great Lakes and the Midwest through the plains. So some severe weather still continuing through Thursday. And this will bring a little bit cooler air too back through here. We see this dipping down through the Pacific Northwest, so cooler temperatures and precipitation. Looks like maybe a little bit coming into Northern California again with that little wave there on Wednesday. And that's kind of where we'll end it. We won't go into later in the week, but you can kind of see how it progresses. So that stuff will just progress eastward. So you can kind of, figure where you're at. The next day it'll be maybe it might be over you. So yeah, so that's that. I'm not gonna really show you the surface depiction because I'm just gonna be kind of repeating myself. So I'll just show you the convective outlook. If you don't know what the convective outlook means, that's basically where there's a threat of thunderstorms. And also, convection also means showery activity. That's when you see those bubbly clouds. Like if you were in the Midwest today or in the plains today and you saw those bubbly clouds, that's what we call convective clouds. Those puffy, cotton ball, mushroom cloud, whatever name you give it, the ones that look beautiful and sometimes go towering high, and then you start seeing lightning and thunder and rain out of them. That's convective clouds. So this is for the rest of tonight. So it's kind of dying down. There's a real marginal threat, but you saw, I think for the most part, from Wisconsin down through Kansas especially, probably a very low chance for the rest of the night, but it's still not out of the question. You could get one or two storms misbehaving and spitting out hail or some powerful winds, And then we got this stuff out in West Texas. Well, it sounds like fireworks outside. I don't know what's going on out there. Okay, so that's for today. Looking at tomorrow, same kind of general area, just a slight eastward shift. We go through, parts of Oklahoma into central part of Texas. But even when you see this darker green, there's a marginal risk. So, even over into the eastern side of Texas and Oklahoma and a good part of Kansas, parts of Nebraska, Iowa, clear up into the, Minnesota and Wisconsin, there's a threat. And towards Kansas City, they'll kind of be on the edge of the severe threat. But that's for Sunday. So, and let's see what they're saying. Yeah, kind of a low tornado threat, maybe a little more enhanced over, Altus, Oklahoma, Lawton, Oklahoma area, if you know where that's at, Wichita Falls and that general area, and then up towards Wisconsin where you see that hatched area. Wind threat, there you go, and then a little bit of an enhanced tail threat, so through there. So yeah. So there'll be a little bit of a severe threat for tomorrow, but no big outbreaks. I mean, like seriously, not at least not through Sunday. So let's get going to day 3. This is Monday, so we see a slight risk. So, a better chance up here across northern Iowa, parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin, even Clip in South Dakota a little bit. But even where you got the dark green, there's a marginal threat, so you can't rule out a severe storm. Going down through Kansas City again, but looks like it's best across parts of west and central Texas into south central Oklahoma. So even up towards Oklahoma City. So there's still a threat on Monday. That's as you start your work week, if you start your work week on Monday. Some people don't, but a lot of people do. So here we go. And then we'll go into Tuesday and we'll look at this. So this is the day 4 is our Tuesday. So same general area. It just shifts a little bit to the east, covering more Missouri, more of Illinois, Indiana, and over towards Michigan. So there's going to be a risk of severe on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Same area, just, a little bit of a shift, but, same general area. Kansas City will kind of be on the northern extent. We'll have Wichita, Kansas, Oklahoma City, Dallas, Fort Worth, um, St. Louis, Champaign, Illinois, and parts of Indiana, the eastern part anyway. So there's definitely a severe threat all the way through Wednesday. After that, they're not real confident in anything, although that system will be pushing east on Thursday, and I don't know Friday if it's going to be out of there, but so we'll just have to see what evolves over the next couple days to see if Thursday's going to bring a threat. But so you just got to be on the lookout for these severe thunderstorms, and if you hear tornado warnings, take cover. You never know if they're going to hit you, especially if you can't see and it's nighttime. So be careful out there. But yeah, I'm not going to downplay any of this. I mean, all it takes is one storm, and it can take out a town or part of a city, or so that's all it takes. So anyways, yeah, that's the weather update. Oh, I forgot to tell you, we're looking at this IR again. So yeah, you see these black and red clouds. These are real high tops. So these things are getting up there in the atmosphere, probably 40 to 50,000 feet, um, up there. So they're going up high. So higher than the planes, most planes fly, except for maybe some of those secret military jets. But and then they're getting pretty high up there, parts of Kansas, some higher clouds. So, anyways, a pretty stout storm up there in what's that, northeast Iowa, up there in that area. So, anyways, yeah, so that's what it's looking like. Even some pretty decent stuff up in the parts of Montana. So, getting up there in the atmosphere. So, anyways, hey, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I should be able to put the video together tomorrow, and then next week you'll probably see me or hear from me. Maybe you'll get tired of hearing from me, but I'll be there to warn you and let you know. We ain't here to have 500,000 subscribers. If we get up to 10,000 or 50,000, that would be great. So invite your friends, your family. If you guys, if you know people that love weather, kids, I try to keep a cool mouth, and I don't have any violence or sex going on here. This is just the weather. Sometimes I have to watch my mouth. I might say one or two words, but yeah, if you want to, have your kids, your grandkids, check this out. If they're interested in meteorology, hey, tell them to come watch me, man. They'll learn something. I'm always explaining things, a little bit here and there, and heck, this could be your meteorology 101 class here, right here, maybe even part two. Yeah, so I could definitely teach that stuff. Yeah, but not so much maybe the dynamics with all those fancy equations. I mean, I know how to interpret them, but we won't be teaching them here because you guys will get bored. Anyways, I'm just jabbering off. So I appreciate you all, and please like and subscribe. And we appreciate you just viewing this. And tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandkids, tell whoever that's interested in weather. If you have a special needs child, I know a lot of them like science and math type things. They're into those kind of things sometimes. The autistic or Down syndrome type people. Hey, invite them here, man. I have a autistic and Down syndrome grandson, so he doesn't understand this stuff yet, but maybe he will when in 10 or 15 years. So we'll see. Anyways, hey, this is Wixman Ray out.